Well, good evening to the class of 2026. I'm Eric Witherspoon. I'm the superintendent here at ETHS, and we are so excited to be welcoming all of you to the next 4 years of journey that you're going to have at this amazing high school. We're going to be providing some information for you this evening, and you're going to get a chance to get some more first-hand understanding of this school and what it provides and what it offers. I can tell you that it may seem overwhelming, and yet it's the tip of the iceberg. And the more you learn this year, and then once you get here next year for the coming years about this high school, the more impressed you're going to be. This is an amazing high school. I really mean it. I've been in education many, many years. I've been in other states and I've been in other school districts. There are a lot of great schools in this country. They're not all great, but there are a lot of them. But there is no other high school that offers everything that this high school offers in terms of not only the full-blown curriculum, but all of the other experiences and knowledge and understanding of other people that comes with being part of Evanston Township High School. So to you families, to the young people who are actually going to be members of the class of 2026, I say this: enjoy the journey. Enjoy this year as you start to prepare to come to the high school. Take advantage of so many of the opportunities you're going to hear about. And most of all, know that you are part of a very, very special school. And you'll be able to get the education, the learning, the growing experiences that are truly unique to ETHS and truly something that no other high school in the country can offer. We're glad to have you here. It's a great day to be a Wildcat. And now I'd like to introduce your principal. He's also the assistant superintendent of schools here at ETHS, a man that I just hugely admire, somebody that you will really enjoy getting to know and being with in the coming years. Dr. Marcus Campbell.
Thank you, Dr. Witherspoon, and hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Campbell, and I have the pleasure of serving as Assistant Superintendent and Principal here at Evanston Township High School. Welcome to our incoming Freshman Information Night. I would like to share that our goal this evening is to provide a general overview of ETHS and to spark your excitement as a Wildcat, right? ETHS is home of the Wildcats, the younger sibling of Northwestern's Wildcats, right? ETHS is District 202 is a large comprehensive high school serving grades 9 through 12. Nearly 80% of our incoming freshmen are coming from our neighboring school, District 65, and we're proudly welcome students from a variety of private, parochial, and homeschool environments in the area. ETHS is known for its unique multiracial and multicultural setting, and our school mission is to embrace this diversity while we educate all students to their fullest potential. Our over 3,700 students are from various racial and cultural backgrounds, and they represent 69 countries, speak 38 different languages, and come from a variety of social, economic backgrounds. ETHS students bring a variety of diversity of language and learning experiences to the school community, and we're so grateful to have that as a part of our local context. ETHS educates and supports all Wildcats using an equitable, cohesive model in our state-of-the-art facilities, as you can see there. You can explore ETHS remotely by taking a virtual tour of the school and campus right from your computer or mobile device. The virtual tour is available in English and in Spanish. You can access the tour from our school website, or you can find it in the app or Google Play Store by searching ETHS U Visit. Now, let's focus on your high school experience. Can you believe I'm saying that? Your high school experience? Yeah, you're going to be in high school a year from now. The ETHS school year is broken into 2 semesters and to 4 quarters. ETHS is a full one-to-one school, which means all students have access to a Chromebook, laptop, computer, beginning in grade 9. District-issued Chromebooks are distributed to new students during freshman orientation. Students provide tech support to other students and staff in our Chrome Zone, located on the second floor in H Hall, in order to keep the 4,000 plus Chromebook devices up and running. Students can check out a Wi-Fi hotspot through the Chrome Zone to gain access to the internet at home. An extended warranty is available for purchase annually, although we recommend the 4-year warranty. One of our district goals focuses on well-being of our students, and this has been a year that we have certainly prioritized that over the years. And whether students access the nurse because they are ill, or ask a safety team member for directions, or purchase healthy food item from nutrition services, there are ETHS team members available to support student well-being and to help them problem solve with the many challenges that they may face. Each student has a counselor, a dean, a social worker, psychologist, academic intervention team advisor who is available to help them during their time at ETHS. This team supports your students' academic, social, emotional, and post-high school plans. Now, let me introduce you to the ETHS Academics. We do offer evening school programs, and to highlight some of the academic offerings at ETHS, to let you know that there are more than 250 courses and 154 honors level courses. We have 34 advanced placement courses, 6 Project Lead the Way engineering courses. ETHS provides career-related education and training in 15 career areas, including Project Lead the Way, engineering, health sciences, water operation training, public safety training, in partnership with the Evanston Police and Fire Department and Oakton Community College. Special education and full continuum of services are offered here at ETHS. There's a day school, an alt school or an alternative school, and an evening school program. I mean, we have so much that we offer here at ETHS. For complete course information, you can find the ETHS course selection guide on the website. To tell you more about the freshman curriculum, Dr. Pete Bavis, who is our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, will be here to guide you through that. Once again, welcome to all of the families.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm Pete Bavis, the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction here at ETHS. And what I'm going to do is walk you through a schedule and talk through some of the courses that you will be taking your freshman year. So here's what your ninth grader schedule may look like. Again, this is a model. But you'll see that we have our Wildcat Mondays, our Orange Days, our Tuesdays and Thursdays, and our Blue Days, our Wednesdays and Fridays. And you see the blocks are in there, and they're all labeled. And I'm going to walk you through those blocks right now. So first things first, all of our most of our freshman courses are Pathway to Honors courses. If a course is designated as a Pathway to Honors course, it means that every student in the course will be taking the course at the honors level, and every student will have that opportunity to earn honors credit, and you will receive specific information on how to move along that pathway in each of those courses. So AM support. AM support is open every morning for students. It's the first 25 minutes of each day. No appointment is necessary to attend. It's a great opportunity to get extra support in your classes, but it's also an extra great opportunity to meet your teachers and build those lasting relationships your freshman year. So on to the academics. First up is Freshman Humanities English. It's a Pathway to Honors course. And it'll be attached to a reading course if needed, and you can refer to Student 2 schedule in your packet for details on that. You'll also have a Humanities History course, which is typically blocked with your Humanities English course, which means you'll go from your English block to your History block. And again, that's a Pathway to Honors course. Math, Geometry, and 2 Algebra our Pathway to Honors courses, and those are the courses that many of our freshmen place into, along with our algebra courses. That's what we can expect as freshmen. Next up is physical education. Students are assigned to a female or male physical education or PE course in accordance with their gender in the ETHS school records. We understand that there are students who may feel more comfortable in an all-gender freshman PE course. In this case, students may request an all-gender PE course on the course request form at course selection night. Lunch. What can I say about lunch other than that we have full-service cafeterias and freshmen eat in an assigned cafeteria. Freshman Advisory Study Hall, also called FASH, is a guided study hall that is scheduled for all freshman students at ETHS. The guided study hall 3 times a week and is designed to provide freshmen with connections to the academic and extracurricular resources and the social emotional supports they need to successfully navigate their first year of high school. Many of our students take biology, which is another Pathway to Honors course their freshman year. It is a graduation requirement, and you'll notice that it is tagged as an elective in freshman year. World languages. We offer a variety of world language courses as electives. Among them, American Sign Language, Mandarin Chinese, French, German, Japanese, Latin, and Spanish. And we also offer a variety of career and tech education courses, CTE courses, and all of our CTE offerings in a variety of career pathways are Pathway to Honors courses. Next up are our fine arts electives. They are all Pathway to Honors courses. We offer visual art courses, vocal courses, as well as performance opportunities. Our career pathways. Please take some time to review career pathways in your ETHS program of study guide available on the ETHS website. We're all here to help our young people find their own path to a career. We believe that there are many roads to success, so we work to shine a light on the full range of career opportunities and the many ways to get there. Whether their entry point is straight from high school or from college, we help young people make plans to choose a job with a future to succeed and to thrive. It's never too early to start thinking about what career pathway you would like to explore. ETHS graduates follow multiple pathways to success. We focus on college and career readiness in order to prepare students for their life after high school. All students will create an individual career and academic plan, we call them an ICAP, through a series of tasks and activities through their high school experiences. Parents and guardians are invited to be part of the ICAP development through school links and other activities with their student. So, freshman year, the keys to a successful year. I've had 2 students go through ETHS, and I have 1 on the way. And in my experience as a parent, I can tell you that the 4 things you see here are vitally important to all of our freshmen. Organization is a skill that should be developed throughout freshman year. Self-advocacy, learning to ask for help. One of the things I often talk about, and I have my own kids do, is that first week of school, go to AM support, seek out some help, ask a question. Time management, vitally important. And did you know that if your student's involved in a sport or activity, their time management actually is enhanced, and that students who participate in those extracurricular and co-curricular activities and athletics do better in school than those who don't. So get involved. It helps with your time management. And finally, build connections. Get to know people. Talk to students in your classes, talk to students in lunch, talk to adults in the hallway, say hi, wave. When you see me, say hello. And I just can't stress that enough. So stay organized, self-advocacy, time management, and building connections throughout your career here at ETHS. To talk more about your next steps is Taya Kinsey, Dr. Taya Kinsey, our Associate Principal for Student Services.
Thank you, Dr. Bavis. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Taya Kinsey, and I'm the Associate Principal for Student Services, and it's an honor to help support you in your transition to Evanston Township High School. We're going to talk a little bit about next steps, and what do you really do now as an 8th grade family? Our next steps include a new student information section of the website with complete details and contact information. Over the next few months, there will be several more opportunities to learn about ETHS, explore options for future courses, and lots of ways to get involved at ETHS. There's also a look at your transition to ETHS timeline. And tonight, you're at the first transition point. This is our event, and it goes all the way through to your final event before your very first day as a 9th grader at ETHS with freshman orientation. The new student information webpage has a calendar of a variety of important deadlines and events for incoming freshmen, and I'm going to highlight just a few of those dates in the next few slides. As we look ahead, ETHS does offer 7 different world languages, and incoming freshmen may request to take any language during the course request process that we have upcoming in January. Students with 2 years of language experience in Chinese, French, German, or Spanish at their current middle school will be placed in level 2 of the language they are currently enrolled. Students only need to take a placement test if they have special circumstances, such as they're a heritage learner, have learned language on their own, have lived abroad, or have studied the language for more than 2 years. We do offer remote world language placement testing in November, and you can read more information on our website and contact the World Languages Department Chair if you have any questions whatsoever. The MAP test is also required and is a part of our placement process for all 8th graders entering ETHS. District 65 students take the MAP test at their current school, and if your student currently attends a private or parochial school that does not offer the MAP test, you will receive an email with information about MAP testing for ETHS. Students attending private parochial schools need to RSVP to take the MAP test remotely, and testing does need to be completed as soon as possible. As we're also looking ahead, we have the ETHS Virtual Engineering Information Night. All students grades 8 all the way through 11 and their families are welcome, and that's on November 18th at 6:30 p.m. For families of students with disabilities who have an IEP, we encourage you to attend the Special Education Information Night on December 2nd to hear more about our continuum of services at ETHS. For families of students who identify as LGBTQ+ or are questioning, please join the LGBTQ+ Student and Family Night on June 14th in 2022 to learn more about navigating ETHS as new students who want to be exploring their identity as members of the LGBTQ+ community, as well as attend our information night, understanding ETHS protocols regarding pronouns, locker rooms, and who to go to for support. We look forward to seeing you at any and all of these events. As we look ahead also to course selection night, our ETHS counselors host group sessions for students and parents to review valuable information about freshman courses and your course request process. This is a night where you will submit the course requests that you are going to be using that we will create your freshman schedule. The final of the transition experience and the final event is freshman orientation, August 8th and August 9th. You'll be welcome to the high school to meet your counselor, receive your schedule, and pick up your new Chromebook. And during orientation, you'll have time to walk your schedule and become more familiar with your new school, ETHS. Finally, the new student support team is made up of the new student transition coordinator and our student enrollment specialist. They're in the Welcome Center, and you are welcome to utilize their supports in East 112. And they will be your primary contacts throughout your students' transition as they approach the very beginning of their time at ETHS. Your first step, if you haven't already done so, is to complete registration. We know many of you have already started, so that's fantastic. You can find registration information on the ETHS website or get assistance with registration at the Welcome Center or by contacting our new student support team. Your first step if you haven't already done so, as we know many have started, is to finalize and complete registration, because then your class of 2026 t-shirt will be yours. You can find the registration information on the ETHS website, and if you need support, you'll want to contact our new student support team. We do invite everyone to connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And we encourage you right now to take out your smartphones and download the free ETHS mobile app. It's great. I use it too. We all make good use of it. This is really the best way to stay connected to all of the fantastic things happening at ETHS. For example, you can see the school calendar. You can add events to your own mobile device. And the app is free and available in 33 different languages, including Arabic, Chinese, French, Hebrew, Russian, and Spanish. Just search for the ETHS in the App Store if you have an iPhone device, or in the Google Play Store for Android devices, and share the app. We are excited next to introduce a panel of student ambassadors who will tell you more about their own Wild Kid experience. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you more about how they navigate ETHS. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kinsey. My name is Alicia Hart. I'm the new Student Transition Coordinator. And along with Cindy Curtis, I coordinate the Student Ambassador Program. We've asked a couple of the over 250 ambassadors to serve on a panel to share their Wild Kid experiences with you. We hope that eighth graders and their families will connect with some of the information shared and learn about their future school. So first, I'm going to ask each of the ambassadors to introduce themselves. They're going to share their name, pronouns, their year at ETHS, and their grad year. So I'll start with Blythe.
Hi, my name's Blythe. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a junior and I'll be graduating in 2023.
Talia.
Hi, I'm Talia. I also use she, her pronouns. I'm a junior and I'm graduating in 2023.
Maeve.
Hi, I'm Maeve. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a senior, so I'll be graduating in 2022.
Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm a senior, and I'll be graduating class of 2022, and I use he, him pronouns.
Eleanor.
Hi, I'm Eleanor. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior, so I'll be graduating in the class of 2023.
Maddie.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a senior, so I'll be graduating in the class of 2022.
And Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a junior, or I use she, her pronouns. I'm a junior and I'll be graduating in 2023.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. So we're going to dive right in and start asking some questions so you can share your experiences. We're going to start with Talia. So describe your experience coming from a middle school to high school. What school did you come from and what was that experience like?
Yeah, for sure. So I went to Nichols, and that was like one of the feeder schools and like a larger middle school. And I think some of the biggest differences coming from middle school to high school. So the first one is that in middle school, all of your classes are just like everyone takes the same courses and everyone does the same thing. And as you all will be requesting your classes for next year in January, one of the coolest things about the high school and something really difficult is picking the classes and putting on your request form the classes you want to take. So that's a big difference. Communication is also a really big one. In middle school, there's more like parent communication because there are 6th through 8th graders in that building. So some of the kids can be as young as 11 or 12. And then in the high school, it's more up to you. You learn this as you make your way through your freshman year and more throughout your whole high school experience, but just remembering to advocate for yourself and emailing your teachers and talking to them about what needs to happen and how you need to succeed. So just remembering how to advocate for yourself and making sure like you have good social and emotional connections and you'll succeed.
Thanks, Talia. So Maddie, you came from a different high school or middle school setting rather. Would you talk about your middle school setting and how that was transitioning to high school?
Yeah, for sure. So I came from St. Athanasius, which is a small Catholic school. My graduating class in 8th grade was 32 kids. So it was really intimidating at first to go from a class of 32 to a class of closer to 1,000 kids. But one thing that I noticed coming in as a freshman was ETHS just made it super easy to transition to that. I was intimidated a lot by the size at first and by all of these other schools coming in, like the main the main schools that feed into your freshman year when you get to high school, it can be really scary coming from, I only knew 3 kids going in to my school. So it was really scary at first, but the community that Evanston builds for you, especially if you join clubs or sports or just throughout your classes, no matter what, you're going to find a great group of friends. Your teachers make that really easy. The kids there are super welcoming. And you also have to remember that even if you are someone coming from Nichols or Haven or a big school like that, they're also scared and they're in the same place because they don't know everyone and it's going to be a bigger school anyways. So I think that the community especially is always so welcoming and you're going to find a great group of friends no matter what.
Thanks, Manny. And there might be some people watching who aren't coming from a school that like ETHS works really closely with in transition, and that's okay too. Like we have new students, 200 transfer students a year, and maybe Natalie can talk a little bit about her transition experience and help us understand that.
I came from a super small private school in Chicago. Evanston was like not a place I'd really spent any time. So coming to Evanston was like a totally new experience. I honestly did not even know ETHS existed until like I was going there. But I think one of the biggest keys to kind of coming into something so new like that is to go in with like a really positive attitude and like just keep in mind that everyone else, this is kind of what Maddie said, but everyone else is going through it too. And I guess one of the biggest things that was scary to me was like I didn't know anyone, like I really did not know anyone, but I joined the swim team, and kind of having that opportunity of like the preseason before made this whole school feel a lot more manageable. And I think one day, like now looking back, I can't even believe that I was like, everything was so foreign and new. And I think it's just important to keep in mind that it will get a lot easier over time and you'll get a lot more comfortable. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about supports at ETHS because there are a lot of supports available. And that's a beautiful thing, but sometimes it's hard to make sense of which ones would work for you. So Blythe, have you utilized any supports and which ones and what can you talk about?
Yeah, so the main supports I've used for academics is the libraries as well as AM support. We have Central Library, which is on the 2nd floor, and we also have East Library, which is on the 2nd floor. It's really a great place to go and get your work done, especially with all your different classes. It's nice to like have a place where you can sit down, especially if like your home environment is a little bit louder and it's really quiet and it's a nice place to get your work done. I also like to utilize AM support, which is a place where you can come in and talk to your teachers. And if it seems harder to get to school a little bit earlier, there is a bus system that does leave and get to the school before AM support. So that's something that you can utilize. A thing I'd like to recognize is that everybody's going through the same thing, and the teachers especially know that you need these academic supports, especially coming from such a different environment. So you can also utilize your teachers. So yeah.
Yeah, it is nice. There is a wide variety, whether it's big school-wide supports or just building that relationship with the teacher. Tim, have you utilized any supports and how have they helped you?
Yeah, so I guess one of the most important supports for me is during lunch, you can go into like a study center, either for like English or science or math. The one I probably use the most is probably math, probably because my teacher was in there a lot sophomore year, but also I think it's pretty cool because it's usually less kids than an AM support, because I don't know, most kids don't want to eat lunch and do homework, but sometimes it's how it is. And it's nice because you get to develop new relationships with teachers that you might not have, but can help you further. Like one teacher for me, I used to go in for English and she helped me edit my college essay. So things like that, like Blythe said, like connecting with teachers is very important, and you can get that in study centers.
Yeah, that's nice, Tim. And I love that, like leveraging a relationship with a staff member beyond what was necessarily the job responsibility, but how it can be really helpful to have those relationships ongoing. That kind of transitions well to our next question, which is talking about the relationships with teachers and students and how to foster that relationship as an independent learner. Maeve, can you talk a little bit about how you've built relationships with staff?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of similar to like what Blythe and Tim were saying, I do think it's super important to go and utilizing those supports that involve teachers like AM support and study centers, and even just going in during a free period if you need help with something, because if you build a connection with your teachers, it's a lot easier for them to understand if you need more time on something, or if you're going through something and you need some extra help. So just like kind of letting them know, just even going and talking to them in the morning, even if you don't need to, if you don't have anything going on, or stopping by their room, because it will help you in the long run. And also it's because if they know like you're in part of a certain extracurricular, they know you don't have as much time with things, or they know the opposite, that you do have time with things. It just really helps them and you balance your work. So yeah.
Right. It humanizes you to the teacher and them in turn to you. It's really nice to build that relationship. Eleanor, can you talk a little bit about building relationships with staff?
Yeah, so adding on to what Maeve just said, and also what you just mentioned, Miss Hart, I think it's really important to build the connections, not only to benefit like your academic success and your experience at ETHS, but also it does like humanize you with your teachers, and even just talking to them normally, like asking how their day was, saying hi and thank you when you leave the classroom. It definitely creates a better environment in my experience, and it makes them like more willing to work with you if you're ever struggling in class, or you have something outside of class and you just need a little extra support. If they know you, they're a lot more willing to help you out, and that can aid a lot. And then I agree, AM support, emailing your teachers, speaking with them after class, or going in whenever you have time, that can also be helpful, and like not being afraid to ask questions. Like teachers will say it and you'll hear it all the time, but like honestly, there isn't really like stupid questions or dumb questions. Like they can only benefit you, so you might as well double check. And then honestly, just like keeping updated and working with them.
Thanks, Eleanor. So a couple of you already mentioned extracurriculars, whether that's clubs or activities or sports, can be such a key to help you find your niche at a school. I'm going to ask a couple of you to speak a little bit about extracurricular involvement. And here are some questions I'm hoping you can talk about. How did you get involved? How do you balance the involvement with the academic workload? And maybe does it even help you be academically successful? So if you could touch on those questions as you're going through, and we'll start with Natalie.
I am in the movie review club. That's something I started. I kind of started it on a whim, but it ended up being a really positive source of like connection with the community. And it ended up being really great, especially over COVID. I think one of the biggest things to keep in mind when you're trying to figure out how to manage all of your extracurriculars is how big of a commitment each club is. Clubs can be anywhere from like just drop in when you can to you need to be at every single meeting 3 times a week, whatever. And kind of keeping track of that can be a little bit overwhelming. For me, my biggest time commitment is swimming. That takes a lot of time after school, before school. But balancing that with a lot of clubs that are really open, just drop in whenever, has been really great. And I've been able to be really involved with a lot of different things. For me, going to clubs just like alone is really intimidating. So usually I like find a friend and like drag them with me. And then it makes the whole experience a lot less scary, and you can really get involved and get to know new people through just kind of trying new stuff.
I appreciate the tip of bringing a friend. I think many of us have been the friend or dragging another friend to try something out for the first time. I like that suggestion. So Talia, can you talk a little bit about your extracurricular involvement and how you got there and how it helps you academically?
Yeah, for sure. So like Natalie, I also have a bunch of extracurriculars and clubs that I like joined throughout the year. So I play tennis, and I started playing as a freshman, and it overall, like in the beginning, was a lot of a time commitment, as Natalie mentioned, with swimming. But having clubs that have a variety of different commitments as well was really helpful. The thing about time management that was really difficult for me as a freshman, and I've gotten better, but also learned more as time progressed, is that having practice before or after school, getting home later, and then not having as much time to have work, and then also wanting to be social and wanting to have time to sleep and all of that. It's really important to utilize like your lunches or maybe a free period, or AM support if it's possible with your schedule in order to make sure you get your work done. My season for tennis this year just ended, and having that season just happening along with one of the hardest academic years in all of high school as you all get there, I learned a lot about making sure that I get my work done and utilize my weekends. And it also pushed me to be a better student and learn like more about my work because I needed to make and carve out the specific time in order to get it done.
Yeah, sometimes you have to give stuff to busy people to make sure they can get it done. So Tim, what about you? Like, you've been involved in clubs for several years at ETHS. How do you manage it all? And what do you enjoy doing?
So I've done like track and field, and just to talk about how I got into it, like my friend just told me, he was like, hey, come out, try shot put and discus. And sometimes that's how it is. And I guess for like time management, the best piece of advice I was ever given, it was from a senior when I was a freshman. He was like, you have almost like 5 hours after school from like 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. kind of. And like actually hearing how much time you kind of have, like if you have 2 for practice, and that kind of leaves like 3 for homework and stuff. But blocking off your time is a really important thing. And I guess once we become adults, like that'll be probably something important that we'll have to do. It's knowing that with the schoolwork, you won't get everything done every night, and that's okay. And it's better just to kind of take your time and go through it and do a little bit each day. I know sometimes after practice, it's just not a homework day, and I'll go take a nap, and that's okay. And then another day, it'll be like grind time and let's do work. And so knowing yourself and knowing how you feel is very important, and also just blocking off time, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, I feel better. I'll work on English. Monday, Wednesday, maybe some math, and working like that can really help you. I know it's a little different with the block schedule, but I guess it kind of helps because certain days will always be the same homework instead of having homework for all 8 classes. So I think that kind of helps. But just blocking off time and even talking to your parents about how to block off time, I think is a pretty important conversation to have too.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. Can I ask a follow-up question? Because I heard you talk a little bit about like literally one of the sports that you're most passionate about right now. Sounds like you went to on a whim. Like when you were a freshman, it sounds like you weren't focused on shot, but like what have been the things you were definitely into freshman year, and then how did that shift?
Okay, so freshman year, I thought I could be like LeBron, so I went up for the basketball team. It was fun. But it was cool. It wasn't what I thought it was, but I guess that's part of high school. And I think the best thing is just try as much as you want, because you kind of don't know where you'll go. I didn't even know that shot put and discus was a thing until January freshman year. And I guess like if you do what you like, you'll have a better time handling all the schoolwork and stuff. Like, don't go to a club you don't enjoy, because that's going to drain you, and then you can't really have time for homework. But if you do something you like, it doesn't feel like it's 2 hours out of your day every day, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. And I would just offer, since I think the screen is zooming in on whoever's speaking, if you could have seen the full list of panelists, everyone was nodding with you, Tim, like do what you like, and how important it is to try new things. So thanks for sharing that. And you talked about how important sleep is, right? And I appreciate that you acknowledge sometimes you need a nap more than you need to do homework, and that's okay. And I'm glad that you talked about how important sleep is and taking care of yourself as a student. It's so important. We're really trying to reinforce that at ETHS. Maddie, can you talk a little bit about some of the student supports that are available at ETHS and maybe one that you've taken advantage of?
Yeah, for sure. So the transition from, one thing I especially noticed was from middle school to high school, the workload does obviously pick up because they're preparing you to be older and to be able to tackle that workload even as you get to college and beyond that. So it's definitely a drastic shift. And freshman year was really helpful for me because it really just prepares you for that. So I think the most important thing to remember is everybody is going through the same thing in terms of workload and homework and all of that. And it's really important to keep in mind that you have so many resources at school. I see them even when I'm in the bathroom. There's flyers. That's if you're stressed or you're anxious, like there are places for you to go, such as Even your teachers are good resources whenever you're feeling so stressed, just you're having an off day, they're always available. We also have counselors, there's social workers, there's the dean, and there's also that's why it's so important to find a good group of friends, because you can always rely on them. I know whenever my friends are stressed or overwhelmed, they often come to me and I can just help them, even just talking through it. But I think it's just really important to realize that you're going to have harder days and it's okay to be stressed and it's okay to be overwhelmed. But it can get really overwhelming if that stress and anxiety starts to take over your ability to be able to learn, because you're just so overwhelmed, because that's not what school is supposed to be like. You're supposed to learn and you're supposed to be growing from those experiences. So I think it's pretty critical to use the resources that we do have, because I know that even I'm a senior in high school, so I really utilized my counselor this year when I was feeling stressed about college material and stuff like that, because managing college of other schoolwork was a lot for me, and she really helped me through it and kind of walked me through step by step what I should be doing and what I should be getting done. So I would just say utilize the resources that we have, because they're available and people want to help you and make sure that you succeed.
Thanks, Fanny. And counselor is always a good first go-to person, and glad that you're able to get that support, because it is a lot in your senior year to do school and applications. So part of that takes the self-advocacy from you as a student, right? And kind of being able to speak up for yourself, say what you need, be able to communicate that to different adults. Blythe, can you talk a little bit about how you've advocated for your needs at school?
Yeah, for me personally, I can struggle with math sometimes. And I think the biggest thing that I've done to help me succeed is to email my teachers. It can be kind of weird to email your teachers coming from a place where you kind of can just go in and talk to them. But since there's so many people, I think it's a great way to have some direct contact without interruption. But I often will be like, hey, I need some help with this lesson, or hey, can I come in and make an appointment? I think it's really important because the teachers want to talk to you. They want to build a relationship with you. And if you show that you're struggling and you kind of open up to them, it can really help build that relationship. And I think it's really important for success at ETHS.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and say I'm struggling with something, but through that, you can usually build a connection with the teacher and make some improvements. Natalie, any other tips on self-advocating?
I think the biggest thing is asking questions and not being afraid to raise your hand and say I don't understand this, especially when you're in class. 9 out of 10 times someone else doesn't understand it either, and you're asking the question that everyone else is thinking. And it just makes your life so much easier when you're ready to ask your question. And asking questions can be really scary, so you can always do that over email or over you can come in during AM support. But teachers want to answer your questions, and it makes everything else so much easier when you have really a lot of clarity about what your assignment is or what it is that you're trying to learn, and everything else becomes a lot easier after that.
I appreciate that. I also heard a colleague once advise, sometimes paraphrasing some of what you do understand back to the teacher in your question. So I understand I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm confused about this part. Sometimes also helps make that question feel less like I wasn't listening, but more like I am listening and I'm still struggling to understand something. Just a tip as a way to make sure that the staff know that your question is coming from a place of trying, right? Okay, so we're going to part with a little words of wisdom from each of you. Kind of what one piece of advice would you give to the class of 2026 as they're getting ready to prepare for high school? Think about your 8th grade year. Did you do summer school? Did you come to the different incoming freshman events? What made those first couple weeks of school, go smoothly? And I'm just going to kind of check in with you all in the same order that we did introductions. So we'll start with Blythe.
The biggest thing that helped me and that I noticed I struggled with when I didn't use it is using a planner. That's how I keep myself organized, especially with all these new classes.
Student planner, always a good one. And we actually, ETHS provides one, but you can use whatever works for you. All right, Talia, other tips?
For sure, go to all of the freshman information nights, all of the course selections. Those are really helpful. And like once you get into high school, like don't be afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone, like join clubs, join sports, just make sure like socially. And I think it's going to go great for all of you.
Thanks, Talia. Maeve, any thoughts?
I know we've been talking a lot about getting involved and utilizing your resources, but I just want to stress that again because there also are ways that intertwines. Like there are extracurriculars that support your other classes, like math clubs, and there's Evanstonian if you're really into writing. So getting involved with clubs that you think are going to help you and that you think that you're going to enjoy, because then it'll help you in the long run anyway.
Thanks, Maeve. Tim, what are your thoughts? Any suggestions, tips for the class of 2026?
Asking questions. I know we talked about like asking teachers and like faculty, but like also ask each other like students. That's not always the best thing, but like a lot of the times like another student will have the answer. Even if it's like you're asking about a club or something beyond the classroom, I think it's always important to like talk to your fellow students because someone knows. Someone always knows. So asking them is always helpful.
Yeah, collective perspective can be valuable. Eleanor, any other suggestions?
I recommend just really reaching out to teachers. That's definitely been something that's helped me make it thus far in high school, because they really do want you to succeed. And despite how scary it might be and like whatever else you have going on when you go to all these new freshman things that we're telling you to go to and you're trying all the clubs because you're following our great advice, it helps a lot, and it really will, like, it'll get you through. Even if it's a little scarier, it's a little uncomfortable, in the long run, it's very beneficial.
Thanks. Maddie, any other tips, advice?
Yeah, I would say, especially coming in to freshman year, just to treat everyone really like respectful with kindness. Like even just smiling to someone in the hallway can go a long way. And I know that's not really like anyone else's advice, but I just feel like that's so important because it can be really intimidating. And just being kind to everyone and being okay to step outside your comfort zone and trying something new will really make your high school experience that much better.
Yeah, and there can be some social structure shakeups and restructuring within acclimating to a new school, and you just never know who might be your new best friend. So being open to meeting those people is really great. Natalie, other advice?
My biggest thing is there's a lot of situations where it might be easier to organize yourself in a way that isn't like traditional or like the way everyone else does it. Like I literally walk around with a pack of sticky notes and keep everything I need to do like on there, and that makes me so much more organized. And so just don't be afraid to try things out and see what works and doesn't.
Yeah, do you, like, that's okay. Like whatever works for you, make it work. I just want to say thank you to all of the panelists for sharing their perspectives. It's not exhaustive. For every student we have at ETHS, there's a different perspective on how to navigate high school, and that's okay. We just wanted to lift a few examples today. And we'll continue to share more perspectives from the student ambassadors at the Wildcat Welcome social media channels. So stay in touch with us there and see some of these Wildcats sharing their stories ongoing. Thank you so much for joining us for Incoming Freshman Information Night.